Behaviour management and positive interaction. The aims to develop our understanding of the needs of children with autism and other learning disabilities, to explore the processes operating during episodes of challenging behaviour, to develop a range of proactive, active and reactive strategies which will enable positive behaviour support for children with autism and other learning disabilities, to consider ways in which we can bring about a positive lifestyle changes for children who display challenging behaviour. Developing our understanding. Autism is part of who I am. That's a statement from Temple Grandin. Lyricana's key features: the inability to relate themselves in ordinary way to people and situations, the absence of spontaneous sentence formation, and insistence on sameness. Hans Asperger's key features: difficulty in interpreting non-verbal communication, such as facial expressions and body movements, peculiar use of language, obsessive interest in narrowly defined areas, clumsiness, poor body awareness, and behavioural problems, and familial and gender patterns. The Diagnostic Statistical Manual from 1994 states the onset before 3 years of delayed or abnormal function in at least one of social interaction, language to social communication, symbolic or imaginative play. The World Health International Classification of Disease, number 10, impairment or abnormal development must be present before 3 years of age, manifesting the full triad of impairments. A definition: a behaviourally defined developmental condition resulting from neurological characteristics caused by genetic factors. Its prevalence: it's estimated 500,000 people in the UK have this condition. That's 1 person in every 100. Its gender bias: classic autism affecting 4 boys to 1 girl, and Asperger syndrome 9 boys to 1 girl. Its increasing prevalence largely because of better identification and neonatal care. The triad of impairments impact on social understanding, social communication, and imagination. Mind blindness. People with autism lack the theory of mind. The theory of mind is the ability to appreciate the mental states of other people, evident from about the age of 4 onward. The theory of mind is essential for forming social groups. Central coherence, the ability to see the bigger picture, understand the context, get the gist. The executive function, switch our attention from one thing to another, prioritize, make decisions, and plan strategically. The sense: visual, what we see; auditory, what we hear; olfactory, what we smell; gustatory, what we taste; tactile, what we feel; vestibular, where we are in relation to the world, in other words our balance; and proprioceptory, where we are in relation to ourselves, our coordination. Sensory processing. Hyper or hypersensitive does not easily filter information. Monoprocessing. Difficulty with focusing on what the neurotypical thinkers consider salient information. Attention channel, incredible knowledge and detail in this. Challenging behaviour, a process, not an event. Definitions: behaviour that challenges, whether it's a challenge to our understanding, our own well-being, or a child's, or else our ability to carry out our responsibilities as parents and professionals. Behaviours which involve significant risk to people's well-being or act to reduce markedly access to community settings. A working definition: episodes or patterns of behaviour which present significant risk of harm or restriction to an individual and the people around them, and are likely to be severely detrimental to the quality of life experienced by those individuals and the people around them. Challenging behaviour is functional. It does something for the person. It's effective. It works for them. It's learned as a consequence of previous experiences. Ingrained is part of the person's repertoire. Communicative is telling us something. Also, subjectively defined, personal histories. Context-specific varies according to settings and situations. Socio-culturally constructed may vary in impact from group to group. Need. All human behaviour is driven by needs. Identify the need, understand the behaviour. Meet the need, address the behaviour. The 4 areas of need are identified as attention, escape, sensory, tangible. Functional assessments. All behaviour is functional. Remember, it's doing something for that person. If you want to prevent or modify the behaviour, you have to find a way of doing that same something for the person. And the person will find a way of meeting their needs. Functional behaviour and autism. Many people with autism have limited range of behaviour and a limited capacity to learn new skills. Given this, I like to stick with what works. Behaviour becomes deeply ingrained through repetition, and if what works is inappropriate, we need to replace it. Challenging behaviour serves a necessary purpose for a person. Challenging behaviours are learnt through a history of interactions between a person and the environment. Problem behaviour may communicate something about a person's unmet wants or needs. A single behaviour may be maintained by more than one outcome, and a group of behaviours may be used to achieve a single outcome. Proactive, active and reactive strategies. Behaviour support. Emphasis on enabling individuals to develop behaviour patterns which are positive and fulfilling. Focus on developing an individual's capacity to respond to challenges and obstacles they face. Endeavours to enhance the individual's repertoire of skills via proactive strategies. The 3 tiers of strategy: proactive, things we teach; active, things we introduce to calm or distract; reactive, planned interventions. So here we see the proactive activity, something takes place, the activity becomes active, and then ultimately reactive. Behaviour management plan will show us how to bring the person back down to active and then eventually proactive state. Proactive strategies: learning, delivered in optimum learning conditions, positive outcomes, enabling, addressing the need. Active strategies: palliative, temporary, not designed for deep effects, portable, quick thinking, helps return to proactive state. Reactive strategies: last resort, principles of least restriction, non-physical, critiqued, something is failing, recorded and evaluated. Positive lifestyle changes: improved lifestyle options, long-term, enduring, transdisciplinary audit, forward thinking. Areas for improvement: diet, health, leisure, self-advocacy, sensory support, skills and knowledge. Incident-specific strategies: short-term, instant payoff, not sustainable, no deep effect. It's a bridging strategy. Categories of strategy: avoidance, calming techniques, distraction, options. Purpose of session: a focus on developing understanding of issues relating to the management of children's behaviour and helping you to promote good behaviour in your setting. Consider, they won't remember what you teach them or how you teach them, but they will remember how you made them feel. Your best teacher: what did your best teacher do that made you want to learn? The 4 goals of misbehaviour: attention, shouting out, being the last to the carpet, wandering, leaving the classroom. Power, refusal to comply, bullying. Revenge, theft, damage. Display of inadequacy or escape by withdrawal, not working, copying, I can't do it. The 4 goals of misbehaviour. So if we feel irritation, annoyance, behaviour is likely to be attention seeking. Anger, how dare you challenge me, power seeking. Hurt, disgust, revenge seeking. Frustration, hopelessness, impatience, displaying inadequacy or escape by withdrawal. Emotional support. Children need to feel safe, welcome, valued, supported, motivated. How will teaching and learning in your setting enable this to happen? Creating an inclusive learning environment. The establishment of an inclusive learning environment needs careful planning, monitoring, and evaluation of the following: systems, routines, relationships, resources. Use words of choice: please, thank you. Make eye contact when speaking with the child and listen to the child. Setting the scene. Before a lesson, consider the following: are resources available and easily accessible? Are support staff briefed? Are visual cues available to support oral or written instructions? Are materials and tasks differentiated to meet the range of ability? Are language needs addressed? Are instructions clear and repeated in small chunks as necessary? A teacher must set high expectations which inspire, motivate and challenge pupils. Establish a safe and stimulating environment for pupils rooted in mutual respect. Set goals that stretch and challenge pupils of all backgrounds, abilities and dispositions. Demonstrates consistently the positive attitudes, values and behaviour which are expected of pupils. Manage behaviour effectively to ensure a good and safe learning environment. Have clear rules and routines of behaviour in the classroom. Take responsibility for promoting good and courteous behaviour, both in classrooms and around the school, in accordance with the school's behaviour policy. Have high expectations of behaviour and establish a framework for disciplining with a range of strategies using praise, sanctions and rewards consistently and fairly. Manage classes effectively using approaches which are appropriate to the pupils' needs in order to involve and motivate them. Maintain good relationships with pupils, exercise appropriate authority and act decisively when necessary. So what? Have you looked at your setting's behaviour policy? Are there common systems in the setting to manage behaviour? Are there setting rules? Could you write them down? Are they displayed or is it just wallpaper? Do you teach them and reinforce them? Do you refer to them? Rules. We all need rules. Some children come from households without them. Classroom rules. The rules should be few in number, positively phrased, discussed with pupils, general enough to cover all classroom situations, clearly displayed and frequently referred to. Links to the setting's behaviour policy, teachable and enforceable, reviewed regularly. So what does positive behaviour management look like to you? How would you evidence positive behaviour management in your setting through using positive interaction? Classroom and group rules involving pupils, establish routines, using praise and rewards, keeping on task, different strategies, behaviour reminders, timing, consequences, building relationships, leading to self-esteem and team building, staff confidence in the system, expectations of compliance, working in partnership, outside agency support, inclusion support services, outreach team, learning support services, autism communication team, educational psychology service, youth service, educational welfare officers, school, hearing impairment service, visual impairment service and others.